Welcome to Sharing Our Ways, in which the members of Earth Spirit Society, Essence, and our friends share of our spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and experience. The views expressed represent those of the presenter and not necessarily the views of the Society. We share our points of view. We do not tell people what to believe. We hold that each one of us has their own path to follow, to truth and spirit.
My name is John Reitman. I'm a member of Earth Spirit Society, and I'm interviewing Stefan Loki today. Stefan is a member of Essence. He has a master teacher level, third level Reiki, and certified crystal practitioner from Hibiscus Moon Crystal Academy and advanced crystal master from Hibiscus Moon Crystal Academy. This is the introductory talk on a series on crystals. Over the talk, Stefan will talk about how to begin with crystals, healing, crystals and animals, making a crystal grid, chakras and crystals, and more. It is appropriate for all ages.
There's crystals and there's minerals and stones. A crystal, a true crystal, is something like this, like a Congo citrine. This is a Congo citrine. And it has the shape of a crystal. A crystal is molecules arranged in a crystalline structure on the macro version. So these are considered a true crystal. Now, you also have things like this would be malachite, and as you can see, its structure is very different. This has been cut and polished, obviously, but it has microcrystalline structure, which means that the crystals are in there, but they're on the microscopic level, so you don't see an actual structure of a crystal. And also there are stones, stones like this one is a gypsum desert rose. Like, they can grow in very different ways. That's a desert rose gypsum, and then this is another one. It's called aragonite. It's also called Sputnik aragonite or aragonite star clusters, and you can see that this has crystalline structure. It has crystal structure on the macro version. I've been using crystals since I was a child. I got interested in them. I used to go around rock hound in Parisboro and places like that, and I would find amethyst and quartz and copper and stuff. We have some really nice crystals around here, especially around Parisboro. There are over 4,500 minerals. Crystals, like I said, are an actual structure, but we have lots and lots of minerals, and there's more being discovered every day. Crystals can be used for healing. They can be used to add positivity to a room. They can be used for like crystal gem elixirs, but you have to be careful with certain gem elixirs. I always suggest, if you're going to do a gem elixir, which is to put a crystal into water and leave it for a while, I suggest using like, you could use a test tube or something and put your crystals in that and then put it into the water. It's called indirect contact because certain crystals do not react well to water. There are harmful crystals. I try not to use very many of them, so I don't really have a lot of examples for you. But things like galena has lead in it. There are crystals that have asbestos in them. There are crystals that are radioactive. You need to check your toxic crystals list, a geology website or something, before you use any crystals. And there are crystals being sold on the market that are very dangerous. So always check and make sure you know what crystal you're using. I started working with crystals when I was a child, but I've been using crystals since I was a it's probably been about 10 years or so that I've been using crystals for healing. And I've had some major illnesses and stuff, and the crystals have really benefited my health. And I would suggest uh, looking into crystals because they can be a wonderful complementary therapy. You can start working with crystals, like I said. First, always check your toxic stone list. After that, you can look online and stuff and find out what crystals are good for what. But there's also certain books. The Book of Stones is a very good book for knowing what crystals to use for what. Also, The Crystal Healer and The Crystal Healer 2 by Philip Permude are very good crystal books, and I'll show those to you later on in this talk. And certain crystals, like, you do not want them to touch you. Like I said, some can be even radioactive, so you wouldn't want a radioactive crystal even in your vicinity because it can really negatively affect you. So you have to know what you're doing with crystals. You have to be very careful. Certain crystals have asbestos, and if you breathe in those fibers, it will hurt your lungs. Crystals can be used both at night and in the day. If you're using at night, you might put them on your bedside stand, or you might put them in a little mojo bag under your pillow, or you can even sleep with them taped to an area if you have pain, like, for example, the Sputnik aragonite. This one, when I was in the hospital, I would tape this one to um, my arm where uh, it was sore from a blown out vein, and I put that crystal on there, and it helped with that. So that's how you would use them at night. Now and you can also set up crystal grids, which I'll get into later. But crystal grids, they can be set up, and you just set them up and leave them in the space untouched. And like every couple days you'd reactivate it or make sure that your cat didn't knock the crystal. I have a good cat. She doesn't knock my crystals. She's good, but a lot of cats like crystals. It's one of the best ways to use crystals is to use a combination of crystals. Now, in my school, Hibiscus Moon, she suggests not using more than 3 or 4 types of crystals. She believes that it causes crystal chaos, but other people have different views on this, and I personally will use all kinds of different crystals together, and I don't have a problem with it. But there are certain crystals you might not want to use together because they may cancel each other's effects out. So, like, if you have sunstone or citrine or something, it's a very happy, positive, uplifting stone. Now, if you use that with something like sodalite, which is kind of a calming stone, you may not want to use those two together because they're going to cancel each other out. But there there are many different crystal combinations, and I encourage everyone to make their own crystal combinations. And the best thing to do is to just try things and see what works for you. Because even if it says something in a book, it's not the same as getting an emotional connection with your crystals. Your crystals will basically tell you how they would like to be used with you. Perfect. A crystal is geometrically perfect. So they have a repeating series of how the molecules are arranged. Like, you can have two different substances. You can have the same substance. Say you take carbon. If you have carbon that is not crystalline arranged, not geometrically perfect, it'll be like coal or something. But if it's geometrically perfect, it's a diamond. and they're both carbon. It has to do with how the molecules are arranged. Their structure is perfect. They're less inclined to entropy than us, and entropy is degrading. So a crystal will last for thousands of years. Crystals don't wear out. They can be offset. If something really major happens to a crystal, it can, like if you drop a crystal really hard and it might dump the DOR of the crystal. But most of the time, crystals do not need to be cleansed and that type of thing. Like you can cleanse them with smoke or whatever. Just it's more for us than for the crystal. But crystals, they will continue to work. It's just we may not feel the effects of the crystal after a while because we're getting used to that crystal being in our auric field. I have some favorite crystals that I work with a lot. I have a lot of different crystals, and I'll be showing and telling the crystals with you guys throughout the series. But one of my favorites is actually the Congo citrine. And the reason it's one of my favorites is it's very good for positivity and stuff. Now, another crystal that I really enjoy, I've got tons of different types, but this is just one, and I may do an episode just on that, is amethyst. And amethyst comes from all over the world. This one is, I believe, Peruvian amethyst, but it comes in many forms. I even have a little amethyst bowl. Another one that I really like, this one is an anhydro, and an anhydro is a crystal. It's kind of hard to see in this light, but this has a water bubble in it. It's got water in it, and then it's got a little air bubble, and you can see it moving around if you get it at the right angle. So that's another one that I find very interesting. This is a simple crystal that I enjoy. It's rose quartz. It's very good for positivity and for healing and emotions and that type of thing. This one is one of my favorites. It's a garnet. That's an almandine garnet. There are actually different types of garnet. There's spessartine and almandine and all different types. But this is how it grows. Like this is how it comes out. It's been polished, but it comes out as a dodecahedron. So that's kind of interesting. I really like I really like this one too. This one is called ametrine. You can't really see it on the camera, but it's actually purple and yellow. It's got amethyst and citrine together in it. And the way this is formed is the amethyst is formed, and then the difference between amethyst and citrine is amethyst is not baked basically as much as citrine. So when the amethyst gets up to the high temperatures, it turns into citrine. So this crystal, half of it got up to a certain temperature and half of it didn't. So it's got both in it, and I really enjoy working with this. This one is probably the one I use more than any other crystal, and it's not really spectacular or anything, but I like the energy of it, and it's called a Lemurian, and a Lemurian is a crystal that has lines going up. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see it in this light, but it's got horizontal lines going up the side of it. That's how you know it's a Lemurian. A lot of people will sell crystals as Lemurians for more money, but they're not actual Lemurians. But this one is. And they come from Brazil, and they're said to have been from Lemuria or Atlantis, mainly Lemuria. But I just really like the energy of this crystal. I work with this one a lot. One that and it's clear quartz, and clear quartz is considered the master healer. It's a very good crystal for any type of healing. This is another form of clear quartz. And this one, I don't know, you see the white line going through there? That is, it's called Faden quartz. And I really like this one because this crystal has broken where that fuzzy white line is, and it's grown back together. It's a self-healed crystal. So I really find that beautiful. If I was going to start off with crystals, don't worry about what everyone else is using them for. Go to your local shop, go online, get what affects you, what you are interested in, because the most important thing is for you to have a bond with your crystals. Like I said, some of my crystals look really sparkling. This is another one I was going to show you. This is titanium quartz, and what this is amethyst that's been electroplated with titanium. So it's got a really, I mean, it's really pretty, but it's not, it doesn't have the same energies as like my simple little Lemurian. And I use the Lemurian all the time. This one is more, my grandmother really likes this one because it's shiny. So, but this one is, it's nice. It's really pretty to look at, but it's not, I don't have the same connection with it that I have with this little Lemurian. And it's funny, one of the authors of the books that I was talking about, Philip Permute, he's said to carry around a little tiny Lemurian, and it's his favorite crystal. And, sometimes the simplest crystals, and I can pick my Lemurian crystal out of an entire bowl of crystals, and I know that that's my crystal, right? So you get a bond with them.
This has been the conclusion of the introduction to crystals with Earth Spirit Society. There will be more in the upcoming months.